Hi, my name is Steven Hitchcock. I did a summer research scholarship with the University of Waikato, and I'm looking on to do graduate research in the coming years. The project that we did was called Shifting Dynamics, and it examined the changing relationship between journalists and PR practitioners in New Zealand. It's a pretty interesting area because I guess traditionally or anecdotally, people think that they're quite opposed, that they're two very, very different things, right? And that, the PR practitioner is trying to sneak their work past the journalists and get their corporate imperative into the paper, so people trust it. But I think that times have really, really changed, and especially in the world of journalism. And I think that principally that's because of financial pressures. A lot of newsrooms are cutting back. A lot of journalists are forced to either work for less or switch industries. And that was actually one of the really big things that came through. Participants, especially seasoned journalists, talked about once going from journalism to PR was seen as moving to the dark side. Whereas now it's a really understandable career move. Because a lot of people understand that it gets to a point where you either don't want to deal with that high stress, low pay environment, or you're simply looking for a different lifestyle. But going back to what I was saying before, the research itself is really interesting because what it's given us is an insight into the New Zealand context. Mainly that in New Zealand, the relationship isn't as it once was, and the two work with each other regularly, and it benefits each other. Journalists, especially young journalists, are expected to work a lot. They get paid very little, high output, high stress workload. And over time what's happened is that the PR practitioners have made that job easier for them. And I think that that's one of the really big things that's come out of this, that we can understand how this relationship is changing. And in future research, what we're going to look to do is hope to understand the impact of this on society. And that'll be done as a much larger project, hopefully with a Marsden grant.